Okay, so I just got off the red line at Berwyn. In this video, I want to take you on a trip with what I think is the most scenic bus route in Chicago, the 146. But first, while we wait for the bus to come, I think we should go to the lake, specifically to Foster Beach on the lake, on Lake Michigan, and then after that, the bus will go down Lakeshore Drive. It'll take us downtown, and then it'll take us through the museum campus, and we'll get off at the planetarium, and then check out Northerly Island a little bit. So it's going to be another one of those public transportation to nature videos, and this time it's on what I think is the most Chicago. But first, to the lake. You can tell we're starting to get close to the lake with these parks. So this is Lakeshore Drive, and then we're going to go through a tunnel under there to get to the lakefront. But check out the scenery. The leaves are finally changing color. Fall is finally here. And today is October 15th. So it's kind of a late fall. A little bit of a community garden over there. Always nice to see. There's that tunnel I talked about. Crossing under Lakeshore Drive, then accessing the lakefront and Foster Beach. Here we are, lakefront. So there is Foster Beach. Not exactly the best day to go to the beach, but unfortunately I can't control the weather. It's pretty strong waves too. Yes, we do have beaches in Chicago. These types of areas have always been my favorite. I've never been the biggest fan of like sandy beaches, but I don't even know what you call this area, like a cement beach, because it's right next to the water, but you don't have to deal with sand because like sand just goes everywhere, you know. I was gonna sit on this bench, but look how wet it is. I'll just sit on one of these rocks instead. But yes, this is the lakefront, and this is Foster Beach. I'm just gonna wait here for a little bit, and then we'll get on that 146 bus, which will take us along the lakefront down Lakeshore Drive, all the way over there, downtown, where we'll then go to the planetarium and Northerly Island. So it's gonna be a little bit of time for the bus comes, but I figured water. That is a steep drop, honestly. I wanna go over here. Now it's it is not a good day to go in the water. I'm just gonna touch it though. This is a nice wave to come in. Come on. Oh god. Oh god. Got slightly wet. Okay, I touched the water. So I was just sitting here waiting for the bus, and look what I found. Look at those seagulls struggling. So, it came to my attention that one of the iconic Chicago buildings, I forgot the name of this, but it's like a pink condo building. The trees are kind of blocking it, but I think we'll walk over there, I'll get a little bit more of a look. And since we do have a lot of time for the bus, I think we'll just walk down this area Maybe make it to this lighthouse over here. Sounds like a plan. Okay, so here's a better shot of that apartment building that I mentioned. This is Edgewater Beach Apartments. I kind of like this area too. No one else is really around me. Very easy to film. No weird stares from people as I talk into the camera. You see, even when you're pretty far north now, like the way I am, you still get these like tall buildings along the lakefront. But I think this is going to be our destination. That lighthouse over there. Let's continue. Okay, almost there. How about that? Another beach. There's a reason why they call it a Great Lake, you know. But yeah, I think we're just gonna get to that lighthouse, and then I'll head back the way that I came. I'll check on the bus, and once it's close, I'll head back over to the stop. Look at this skyline shot of like the north lakefront apartment buildings. Looks like we made it. That's just me and a seagull. And dude, look at that. There's the skyline. The downtown skyline. That over there is the beach that we were just at. Alright, well with that being said, I'm gonna head back to that rocky area and keep waiting for the bus, and then when it's close, I'll head over to the stop, and I'll see you then. So it turns out that bus is coming sooner than I thought. So now I'm like slightly jogging in order to get back in time. Why do I always find myself in these situations? Okay, I'm most likely gonna make it. I know how to move when I have to, alright? Not to mention, I think Google Maps always overestimates the walking time. So if you speed walk and you run, you can definitely get there in time.
Marine Drive and Winona. Michigan, Indiana. The most economical way to see all that Chicago has to offer is on CTA. CTA 3-day passes offer 3 days of unlimited riding for one low price. Log on to transitchicago.com or call 888-YOUR-CTA for sales locations.
Well, have a look around. So I made it to the museum campus. However, the problem is that it was honestly like a beautiful bus ride. I hope I can edit the video well to really like emphasize like how cool that was. Like seeing the lake, seeing all the buildings downtown, that was really cool. One of the best buses in Chicago for sure. But the problem was it is a long route and there was a lot of traffic and I had to pee. So I had to get off early at the first stop on the museum campus and find a public bathroom. But we're okay now. It's Baku, capital of Azerbaijan. But anyway, got a nice little park thing right here. Oh look, that's the Field Museum. Well, I think what I'm gonna do now is just continue down this path to get to the planetarium, and then we'll walk around Northerly Island. I wish I could have been able to stay on the bus the whole route to get all the way to the planetarium, but the issue is just like, when you gotta go, you know. So, this is the Shedd Aquarium, and there you have it, there's the lake again. And that down there is the planetarium, which is not our final destination. We actually have to walk around a whole island first. But I want to get on this trail, because once I get on this trail, it can take me over there. I'm a little bit tempted just to jump over this like railing, but I don't know. There has to be another way. I'm gonna check the map and see if I can find another way. I do like this nature area though. Should we venture in? I always get distracted. Nesting bees and wasps, oh god. You know, I've never actually been to this part of the aquarium. This outside area. Okay, I figured it out. Up that ramp, and then up those stairs. There's the Sears Tower. Man, check out all those boats. And just up there is the planetarium. When we get there, we're going to make a right, and we're going to explore this whole area to the right over here of Northerly Island. Here we are, and here we go. I think I roughly know the way to get there, but you can see there's a giant parking lot, of course, gotta have that, for the planetarium, and then for Soldier Field over there. These trees are kind of blocking it, but there you go. That's Soldier Field, where the Bears play, or they might be moving to Arlington Heights, or some suburb. Okay, so see that sign up there? 12th Street Beach. We have made it to another beach. We went from Foster Beach all the way to 12th Street Beach. By the way, like, I don't know if you can see this in the distance there. I believe that's Gary, Indiana. That's literally Gary. You can tell because of all the smoke in the air. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna walk up to the water. Not literally, but I probably won't go in it again since my shoes got wet the first time. By the way, the sky is a little bit better, you know? It's not raining. The sun pops out every now and then. But yeah, that's the landscape. I think it's quite pretty, honestly. And there's the beach. That's the planetarium, the beach. And what we're gonna do is just walk down this trail. And then we'll do a perimeter of Northerly Island. And I'll have to find a way to get back. But yeah, this is the Huntington Point Pavilion. They have like concerts and stuff here. And look, I will say some things about Northerly Island, or you know, the museum campus more generally, is that look, it is pretty how it kind of like sticks out of the landing, like goes into the lake area. The thing though is sometimes it is a bit hard to reach the museums compared to other parts of the city. Like when you're downtown in the Loop, in River North or whatever, it's pretty easy to get places. The museum campus, yes, there is the 146 bus, but other than that, you kind of have to walk, because most people, like, if you come to Chicago as a tourist, you're probably going to stay downtown, maybe. Additionally, like, the museum campus is all just straight museums. There's not really other businesses. There's certainly no housing there. No one lives there. And what that means is that when you come to the museum campus, it's either you take the bus, or you have to do a decent amount of walking, you know? It's not like how, like, in New York, the Met is right next to Central Park, and it's really easy to access it. That's a really, really pretty tree, by the way. Yeah, so I guess the museum campus is, like, beautiful in terms of the cultural institutions of the museums. It's amazing, but it's a little bit hard to access. Not hard, it's just a little bit inconvenient. Hey guys. How's it going? The geese here are some of the friendliest geese I've ever seen. No issues at all. See, you can see over here we have that's the south side. What I was trying to show was this southbound skyline. So now we're entering Northerly Island Park. And so, okay, you see the sign up there? Trail closed. I don't think that's actually true. Surely it can't, because it's literally open right here. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but there's literally no one else around. I mean, downtown Chicago is right here, and there's literally no one here. I don't think it's actually closed, though. I think that's an old sign. It's out of date. You can see, like, the sign is all scratched up. And look, it's just so beautiful here. It has a very, like, prairie landscape. There's actually some hills, you know, because the Midwest is a very flat place. So it's always a little bit nice when you see a little bit of hills. And yeah, like, there's no way this is closed. Look how, like, paved this is. This is, like, clearly open. And it's the middle of the day. Well, it's the afternoon, but you get the idea. And then again, here's the skyline. So is this the, okay, no. It is interesting they would have like this like concrete pillar type thing. Because like no one's gonna drive a vehicle down here. There's the lake again. That's the south side. And then way in the distance. Hang on. Way in the distance is Gary, Indiana. Now I will say the conditions of this part are not quite as good. But we'll continue. And I believe this trail like just loops around the perimeter. But honestly, look how beautiful this all is. And I think, oh, this is like a side trail. See that rock formation up there? Well, I guess the trail kind of ends right here. I don't dare go any further. It honestly kind of reminds me of Central Park in Manhattan, except for the fact that there's literally no one here. But it reminds me of that in the sense you have like nature and then you have like, you know, skyscrapers. And look at this lake here too. A small lake. Maybe it's a pond. It's getting very narrow up here. Man. If I'm being honest, it's a little bit eerie. Even though the sun is still up and will be up for hours. Just the fact that I'm the only one here, like that's honestly crazy. And again, skyline. Man, this is the quality of the trail. A whole bunch of rocks. Okay, seriously, like, look how dense this vegetation is. Man, soon enough, I'm gonna need a machete to get through here. Oh my. Okay, so it looks like the vegetation has sort of died down a little bit. It's a little bit easier to walk through. At one point, I felt like I needed a machete to cut my way through because it was so thick. But I guess it's thick because people don't really come around here that much. I do see one other person on the opposite side of the lake right now. But that's the only person I've seen since I entered this area. Hey, look at that plane. Yeah, this island is honestly so big. I believe it's 91 acres. And I need to figure out what this building is. Hang on. I'm gonna go do some research and then I'll report back to you. Okay, so I tried looking up this building on Google Maps and there's nothing marked on the map. And then when I looked at the satellite view, it didn't even exist. So like the building was new, I guess? Like when in terms of when Google took their satellite pictures. But I don't know what this black building is. Wait, it's probably, is that McCormick Place? It might be, I don't know, hang on. I have to do some more research. It might be McCormick Place. Yeah, I think that probably is McCormick Place. I don't think that's part of Northerly Island. I think that's a little bit further away. But here we are. I found myself on another side trail again. Skyline view, Sears Tower, Aeon Center, Trump Tower, Vista Tower, John Hancock. Let's go up this hill. So rarely in the Midwest do you actually get to be able to go up hills. But I think we're honestly going to get an amazing view. So that's the main path, the paved area that leads to that bridge over there. But, you know, I can't help myself. Yeah, the view is honestly amazing up here. And look at this clearing area. And now this has to be one of the best views in Chicago. Again. That's downtown. South side, lake. Ooh, someone left their divvy over there. That's honestly such an amazing spot on top of that hill. Look at this. New nature trail. Follow the flags for a scenic view. I think I will. Yeah, that's definitely McCormick Place. Because you can see the water over there, which cuts off Northerly Island. And wow, so that's where we're on that hill. It's so beautiful. This is what the Midwest is like, you know. This is Illinois, the prairie state. Absolutely amazing. All right, can't hang around all day. It only keeps getting better. Now we're sort of on like the side of the hill on the far west side of the island. And by the way, that's the Huntington Pavilion over there. We're not that far. Although the terrain does slow you down a little bit. Well, I made it back to the paved area. I'm a little bit glad for that because the vegetation is a little bit thick in some areas. But hey, skyline again. By the way, so this is an old like air traffic control tower because there used to be a third airport in Chicago, not just O'Hare and Midway, but also Meigs Field. which I guess was on Northerly Island. I've heard of it before. I just didn't know that it was literally right here. But why was it shut down? Corruption. Well, I think that is pretty much it. So you can see that's the area where we entered. Just down there was the way that we entered from. See that yellow sign? That's where the entrance was. Eventually came around, and now we're here. There's Huntington Pavilion. And I think that's going to be close to the end of the video. I might get a few more clips in there, but if I don't, I just want to say this was honestly even more amazing than I thought it would be. I had a great time at Foster Beach, seeing the beach up there, seeing the lake, being at the lakefront, and then the bus ride was amazing, although kind of long. And then I've been to Northerly Island before, but only like the beach area and the planetarium. I've never actually been like the whole area over here. Hang on. Yeah, the whole area over there. It honestly blew me away. So if you're in Chicago and you want to, I would say it took me about an hour to walk around the island. Obviously, if you want to do the whole bus route thing, that's a lot more too. But I understand not everyone is going to do all that. With that being said, that was the most scenic bus route in Chicago, 146 from the lakefront at Foster Beach to Northerly Island, and then a walk around the perimeter of Northerly Island. I hope you liked it. I know I did. I'll shot at the lake, planetarium, and the lake. And with that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.